my friends, and welcome back to Where Wendy Travels, Where Wendy Creates. Today, we are taking a look at microwavable fabric bowls. Hello, and welcome to Where Wendy Travels, Where Wendy Creates. Today, we are going to make some fabric bowls. And when I say fabric bowls, we're looking at making bowl cozies to keep your fingers from getting too hot in and out of the microwave or holding your ice cream. They won't get cold. What we're looking for is getting batting that is 100% pure cotton. Read the fine print. Make sure it says the scrim in the batting is also 100% pure cotton, because anything else in the microwave may spark. This is safe in the microwave 8 minutes. I recommend not doing it more than 8 minutes. You don't want to cook it. And we're getting 2 matching fabrics, and we're going to cut these fabrics up in 10-inch squares. And to make this project easy, we're going to use a rotary cutter and a large rotary mat to go ahead and cut this fabric into 10-inch squares. And we're also opening up the batting and cutting the batting into 10-inch squares. Okay, so when we've cut all of our coordinating fabrics into 10-inch squares, we're ready to cut up the batting. And when we cut up the batting, we might want to choose a pair of scissors sitting on our lap and doing it a little bit wider than the 10-inch, or we can be very precise sitting down with the cutting mat and the ruler and cutting our 10-inch squares. But we need to cut up all of our batting that we're going to use. We're going to use 2 pieces in each bowl cozy, so we do need to cut a few if we're making a bunch of gifts for other people, plus a whole set for ourselves. All right, so now what's next? Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Where Wendy Travels, Where Wendy Creates. Today, we are taking a look at microwavable fabric bowls. And these are wonderful soup bowl cozies. And we're going to make a bunch of these today, and I'm going to walk you through the process, show you how it's done. So what we need are 2 10-inch squares of 100% cotton and 2 10-inch squares of 100% cotton batting. Now, when you take a look at your batting, check the scrim, make sure it's 100% cotton. The scrim is the part in the batting that goes in as little. Sometimes they add in extra stuff, or they've used different items in the machine. It's the little parts that help the fibers stick together for the batting, but we want 100% cotton. And what is a soup bowl cozy? A soup bowl cozy is where you put your breakfast cereal or your leftovers or your ice cream in a bowl, and you never freeze your hands. You never get your hands too hot. So take your morning oatmeal, put it inside your bowl just like you normally do. Take this with the hands and put it into the microwave. Take it out of the microwave, and you're never ever gonna burn your fingers. So these are absolutely wonderful bowls to keep around. The soup bowl cozies, you can make them in any color. This is a typical 10-inch size. We'll make them with 12 inches, 14 inches, 16 inches in the future, show you for the larger casseroles. But these, I brought out several different sizes of bowls to show you they fit the different bowls. Pop it in the microwave, take it out, hold on to the little hands. You're never gonna burn your fingers again. And who doesn't like cozying up in the living room at night to have a little bowl of ice cream? Ever freeze on your fingers, or put it on your chest when you're watching TV and get too cold? You're never going to do that again, because you have this wonderful handy bowl cozy, and they fit the little casserole bowls as well as your typical bowls. You can even turn them right side out, inside out. Take your fingers where the points are on either side of the points, flip it out, turn the others, flip it out, and you have completely 100% reversible fabric bowl cozies, soup bowl cozies. So these are wonderful. You can make them in any color that you want. Just take this when you've done with it, or when you've spilled on it, throw it in the washing machine. I usually use cold, but have it with light colors. And when you take it out of the washing machine, it may be all balled up and knotted. Go ahead and let it dry in the dryer, or you can take it out to set it dry, and then pull it apart. Stick your fingers in the points, pop it a couple times, pop it a couple of times, and you have, see how I take my fingers like this and I move it in, and just like I'm ironing it with my fingers. And there you have your soup bowl cozy. I have soup bowl cozies that I got as a gift nearly 10 years ago now. They're a little bit flattened with time and use, but now I have made some more. I still use the old ones because I use them constantly, all the time. Anytime I have something to heat up in the microwave, I'm using these. I'm never going to burn my fingers again. Don't worry about using pot holders to slip off if your bowl doesn't have handles. Put it in a soup bowl cozy and never burn your fingers again. Okay, so I'm very excited. I am going to walk you through the entire process of making these bowls today. So we are going to go ahead and create some beautiful bowls. So grab your coffee, grab your tea, sit down, join me. Let's have some fun. But take thread that corresponds to the fabric that you're going to use. Looks like I've got white in there, so I will be switching it out. Maybe I'll do one of these first with the white to show you the contrast on that. Actually, that works better with baby blue as well. So let's go ahead and change the thread out so you can see us making these soup bowl cozies. And I am very excited because I haven't made them in a couple of months, and it is about time that I start thinking for holiday gifting ideas. And what is better for those family members I haven't given them to yet, but to give them some soup bowl cozies. So I have my 10-inch squares cut out of my different fabrics and my different cotton batting, and we are gonna go ahead and put these together. And what we're gonna do is match the wrong side of the fabric along with a layer of batting. And we're going to put it into the sewing machine and actually sew corner to corner. So what I have here is the fabric. So right side up, wrong side against the cotton batting. And I'm going to lay these out, kind of use your fingers to move them around onto the batting to where all of it is laying flat, and take it and sew from this corner to this corner, and then take it out of the machine. I usually do a whole stack of those, but the next step is from this corner to this corner. And when I put it in the sewing machine, I am going to forward stitch on a single line. And we're going to use about a 3 on this, and then back stitch to lock it in, and then we're going to go all the way across in the line. And we can draw a line. I just pretty much aim corner to corner and do straight across. So also to do this project, we want to get out our 100% cotton thread. Make sure you're not using polyester. We want to use 100% cotton thread matching our fabrics that we have chosen. Okay, so then we're going to take that same square that we've done corner to corner, and we're going to turn it sideways, and we're going to go the other corner to corner. And if it is not looking like it's on the fabric, we just simply turn the batting over where it has, and then we rub it ever so gently. It's going to cover that corner, and we want the corner of the fabric going right under the needle. And we're going to go ahead and sew a couple of stitches, back lock, and then we're going to sew this corner to this corner. First block, corner to corner, corner to corner on the batting, face up. Go ahead and do our second block. We have a piece of 10" by 10" batting that we have cut. We've decided what piece we're putting on the other side of our soup bowl cozy, and we're going to go ahead and lay the two of these out. As you see, the batting is slightly bigger, but shouldn't be, but it is slightly bigger in my case. And I'm going to just roll my fingers over both sides like such. Take off the other lint that I've gotten everywhere and pull it back over. And then the pretty side is facing me. The wrong side is facing the batting. And we're going to go ahead and pop it in our sewing machine. Okay, so we're going to start the machine right at the corner. Sew forward a couple of stitches. And then we're going to back stitch a couple. Keep on going. Okay, and then we pull it out. Trim our threads. Okay, so when you have your two blocks cut out and your lines sewn across them, go ahead with the scissors and trim any excess batting that is around sticking out, and that way you have two nice squares to start with. My friends, and then what we want to do when we have our squares trimmed is go ahead and fold the fabric over, meet point to point, and then we are going to sew in a 1/2 inch from this side to 2 inches into the body of our block. So we're going to go ahead and sew that. And again, about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch by 2 inches. And when we have this part done, we're going to take it and we're going to trim right by that line to where when we open our plastic, we have our first tuck that's going to be our first bowl side. Trim all of your batting and then take your two corners, point to point where we have sewn them, put them, straighten out your fabric, go back about 3/4 inch up to about 2 inches. While you are just learning, make sure you're marking this measurement just by a dot, and then sew point to point. And what I'm doing is I am back stitching or knotting at both sides that I have sewn. Trim your threads. So I've knotted here and I've knotted here. Take your corners and cut that off to where you just have a 1/4 inch left. And you can open it up and you can see that we're already forming our bowl. And then take it by the other two sides. Make sure your batting is already cut, trimmed off. Take these two corner to corner, measure in 3/4 inch by 2 inches. And I have done probably better than 1,000 of these bowls for the last 5 years. I'd be tempted to say that I've sold over 2,000 of these bowls and then given away probably hundreds others. And again, knotting on either side, pulling our thread, trim, trim, cut, turn it around and do your 4th side to where you have the little bowl sitting here. So we're going to flip over. We're going to have the point of our fabric to point of our fabric. We're going to touch the two of those together. We're going to take our little ruler, 3/4 inch by 2 inches. Foot up. pull it out, trim, trim, cut this piece off. And we can use these pieces if we're doing another piece of craft, such as sewing on it to make our snippet rolls. That's it, snippet rolls. But here, back to our fabric bowl cozy, our soup bowl cozy, there we have our piece already acting like a bowl with our dimples. And again, 2 layers of that. Okay, so now we have done that to both of our pieces that we are using. We have our bowl shape. We've trimmed off the back with our coordinating piece. We have done that as well. And now with the bowl, we're going to turn one of these the opposite direction. Stick your finger in the holes, turn it around, stick your fingers in the holes, turn it around. And we're going to seed these 2 pieces together. And if we've done our 3/4 by 2 inches, they're going to seed properly. So go ahead and fidget with these, manhandle them, rough them up, get them in line to where you have 2 bowls that match. And then what we want to do is we want to have our opening somewhere right in between these 2. So we're going to start, let's go ahead and do it on this side, and we're going to start in the machine, lining those up, and we're going to have the opening right in between the 2 of these pieces. So we're going to put it in our machine right before the seam. And the thread color on the inside doesn't matter as much, but I still like to have it somewhat match. I double lock that in. If you saw, I went forward and back a couple of times to lock that in. I'm holding my points, and I'm going to sew a rough 1/4 inch all the way around, needle down, foot up, pivot, foot down, line up our next line, line up our seams. And I like to double sew, just like I did when I began. I'm double sewing the corners because these get a lot of use, a lot of use. So let's go ahead and keep going. And if you sew a scant 1/4 inch, you're probably going to run off the side of the bowl. So I'd rather you do a healthy 1/4 inch than less than. Needle down, pivot, lock that stitch, and keep on a-coming. And again, with a lot of batting, we often need to clean out our machine more often, but that's okay. But right now, that sound does sound like I need a new needle. And with it breaking the thread, let's go ahead and pop in a new needle, shall we? Okay. And line up your sides, line up your seam. This is where we started right here. So I want to leave an opening here to turn our bowl right side out. So you see I've gone over that several times because I want it really strong. This bowl is going to be used and abused, and I want it rough and tumble to be able to wash a million times and use a million times. So we can go ahead and cut our threads. I did have to rethread the machine, and I went ahead and put in yellow to show up nicely on the pineapple here, but I thought it would be a nice contrast that you can see as well. Now I'm sticking my fingers in here. We're going to take it where we double trimmed, and we're going to cut it off, and I want you to see that we're not cutting through the threads. We're just trimming the corners on all 4 of these corners. And if we went out too far here, this is also a point where we can lightly trim it, but always keep it at least 1/8 of an inch so you don't tear into that. And then go ahead and stick your fingers back in the holes, and we're going to take them all the way across to a corner with our thumb firmly pressed on the inside. Take that, hold it, push it through to where we're getting that corner pulled out, and we can just lightly push, 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 turn that bowl right side out, stick our fingers in the hole. We can also use a skewer, the end of the scissors, or a stiletto to get those points pushed out. And you see we switched over to the pineapple bowl and its match. But today I wanted to do lots and lots of these. So that's why we've switched over. And see, this point is not coming out for me. So I want to go ahead and fix that point. And I can simply stick my scissors in the hole and use it as a stiletto to help push that out. Or I can take a large needle and pull a couple of threads at a time to make that point really pop. So that's what I'm doing there. And we have our bowl. Now we just need to close up that hole and do our top stitch. And we will be ready to microwave. So again, manhandle it, make it look like it's all in shape. Any threads that happen to appear, we can, it wasn't even connected, cut those off. But then find your hole again, because that's where we want to start at. Here's our hole. And see, by using a 1/4 inch, they've laid nicely together. So now we're going to start right there. We want batting on both sides. Fold it over real nice. Might have to work just one side of that there to get the fabric laying back out and over the batting, because I did stick my hand in several times. When it's laying flat, go ahead and sew it up. So we're going to stick that in, and now we're using the scant 1/4 inch to go all the way around for that finishing seam. And my bright yellow looks like it stands out a little bit too much. So I might do 4 with the bright yellow, and then I'm going to switch over to a calmer colored thread for the rest of them. So if somebody likes that bright yellow, they can have a set of 4 of them. And the others, I'll make it toned down. We're simply going around the edge of the bowl. We're manhandling it a little bit as we go, making sure we have the same top and bottom fabric to where it's sealing them, because I want that batting and that seam caught in that top stitch. Then when when we come up to the end, I like to go over it about a 1/2 inch and then lock my stitch again. And when you're going directly over your line, you're actually locking the stitch as you go. Then we want to cut all of our threads as close as we can to the fabric. Don't know what I did there. Oh, that's the beginning and the end threads, duh. All right. And see, I did get the top thread stuck in there with the other one, and that's okay. It gives it a more secure appeal. But look at that. We have a finished soup bow cozy. What do you think? Tell me in the comments below. Please like, please subscribe, please share. Tell your friends, put me on Pinterest. I want to know what you think about your new fabric bowl soup bow cozy, and you're never going to burn your fingers again. Have a great day, my friends. Thanks so much. Okay, so let's go ahead and make another one, and we're going to turn these to where right side is with right side, and we're going to put them in, pull them down, match up the sides and the seams fairly well before we bring it to the sewing machine. And we're going to start sewing to leave an opening right here. So we're going to go ahead and pop it under the sewing machine. We're going to reinforce our beginning, our end, and our corners. So you're going to see me go back and forth over the different seams and the different corners. And that's because I want to be able to manhandle these bowls, rough and tumble. And really use these rough. And sometimes you're going to have to readjust the corners. I like to have the needle down, lift the foot, pivot, put the foot back down, and then continue on with my bowl. And you could pin these to where you have them. But again, we're dealing with such a small piece of fabric, just 10 inches or less, so I usually just manhandle them as I go to line them up. And you do want to remember when you're manhandling these, keep the needle down. That way you're never going to lose your place or have any loose stitching. And you can see if you're doing a lot of these for gift giving, there's a lot of steps involved, but it's really easy. And trim off your corners. Make sure you don't cut through your threads. And then grab it at your opening. Turn it right side out. I made this opening a little bit smaller than I usually like to do. But as long as you can get your thumb in and pull it at the point, and then just slowly, slowly, slowly tug. The rest of your fabric will come through. And then put your fingers in. Push out your points. Again, push out your points. Push out your points. And your bowl comes together real nice. And again, feel free to manhandle this. You're doing double stitches. You're making it tough. You're making it tight. This is fabric. It's not going to get hurt. And then take your opening. Make sure your batting is in both pieces at the fold. And that's where we're going to start to go ahead and do our top stitches. So go ahead and put it under your foot of your sewing machine. Oopsie, foot down. And you're going to go all the way around. All the way around. So you can make these at home. These are the perfect gift giving. And I would say these last, again, I have my first set for probably 8+ years. But I would say these hold their form if you're using them constantly for a good 3 years. So every 3 years, you can feel free to give that same person another set of bowls. And then when we're coming up on the edge, this part is always tougher to go over, like I didn't tell you on the others, but that's why I'm kind of holding it from the back, holding it from the front, kind of maneuvering that in, and then I'm going to go over my stitches about a 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to lock stitch. And anytime you're going over your stitches, you're actually locking them in. And then I'm going to trim them close because you don't need any excess threads in there. And from both sides. And I ran it over so we've got a couple of threads in there. And just trim those off and you are good to go. You have a set of 2. I like to give these in a set of 4. And again, turning them either way you want, inside of the bowl or the outside of the bowl. However you want to set this up, you can go ahead and use these as your beautiful soup bowl cozies. When I put them in the drawer or after I wash them, I lay them similar to this, and that way they're real small in my pot holder drawer. And I pull these out. I've got lots for company. I've got lots for myself. They're great to have in the house, and they fold up real nice. There we go. Thanks for joining me today. Y'all have a wonderful day, and please hit that subscribe button down below. Like, subscribe. We want to have you back on this channel. We want to do a lot more craft projects with you, and also work on some upcoming quilt blocks. See you soon, my friends.